Hello guys, I am Om from Premier Chess Academy and I welcome you all to our new learning series. Today we are with the topic opposition and various type of opposition. So first of all, you may have a question. What is a opposition, my dear friends? Opposition is one of the topic that you will mostly encounter during the king pawn endgames. Yes, during the endgame you play, most often you will face king and pawn, and where the opposition concept will be very valuable for you guys to determine whether the condition is a winning condition, draw condition, or a loss condition. So what is the opposition? First let us know. When a king face each other, we call that as a opposition. That means they are opposite to each other. So in this particular condition that you see here, if I drag this king to here, it is directly taking an opposition to each other. And the one who is having the opposition always stays advantage. Why? Let us see here in this condition. In this particular puzzle that you see here, if it is white to play, how to determine it is winning, losing, or a draw condition. So my dear friends, see here. When there is a king pawn ending going on, this pawn right here, when it tries to promote to the last rank of the opponent and to promote to a piece, either via queen, rook, bishop, or knight, it needs some basic important rules. So for this pawn to get promoted, it is very much important for this king to have a hold on these three squares, b6, c6, and d6. Why? Because these three squares that you see are the key squares. So can we catch it? Yes or no? Please write down in the comment. Can we catch that? Yes, we can catch that by opposition. How? By taking the direct opposition, we can catch that three squares right here. How? Please see. When I move the king to this c5 square, now it is taking a opposition to the opponent king, right? So when this king is taking the opposition, now this black king has only two chances to go here and here. That is on b7 and on d7. So if this queen going to this b7, my white king is going to d6. And of course, among these three key squares, now my king is taking one of the key square. And it will help my pawn to get promoted to the last rank of the opponent and get promoted to the desired piece. Well, coming back to this, if the king is going to this way, we can go to b6. Exactly the same. We are taking one of the key square and it helps us in promoting the pawn to queen. So what will happen? See, when the king goes here, I will push the pawn. When the king will go here, now the king will go this way. Again, I will take the opposition. King will go this side. Then the king will go to this d7. Now the king will come to b7, c5 pawn push, king to b8, then c6. Now see, king has no control on the c8 square, and of course we are going to make our pawn promote to a queen. Okay. Now, so this is how the direct opposition works. Now let's go to the next position, that is distant opposition. What is distant opposition? Distant opposition means when the king facing to the king directly but having an odd number of square difference between them. That is, see here, if I am white here and the opponent is black having a pawn which he is trying to make a queen, can he do or not? Let's visualize. Let's try to analyze. Please stay tuned with me and see here how the distant opposition is working right here. In this particular position, you see my king is going to c1. And of course, as I said in the definition, distant opposition means kings facing to each other, but there lies the odd number of square difference between them. As you can see, these three squares are between the two kings. And yes, it is distant opposition. And yes, why do not need to panic here? Why? Because yes, he can draw the condition. And yes, he can stop the pawn from getting promoted to a queen. So right here, if the king is coming like this, we are now taking the opposition. The king is going here. Again, we are taking the opposition. We are not letting this king to hold onto these three squares. That is the three key squares that the pawn required to get a win over the situation. So as the king cannot come to these key squares, we can easily stop the opponent king as well as pawn to get promote to the last rank, that is the first rank for us. So this is how the distant opposition is working right here. Now the next thing I'm going to tell you is diagonal opposition. Then what is this diagonal opposition? My dear students, my dear friends, my dear guys, please see here. This is an example of distant opposition. And how this distant opposition is going to work? Yes, distant opposition is nothing but is exactly the same as the direct opposition, but there lies the direct opposition and one square difference between the two kings, but in a diagonal way or in a slanting way. Got it? So yes, when the king is having the distance of one square or similarly to the direct opposition, but in a diagonal manner, that leads us to a diagonal opposition. So here in this particular position that you see here, let us consider white is us having king and two pawns, and opponent is having a king and one pawn. So can we win this game? Can we draw this? Or it's going to be a something different result? What will be the answer? If anyone knows, please write down in the comment section below. Let us see what is going to happen here. Now, as we discussed, we take the king to this d6 square and we put a diagonal opposition right to the king. This is why we do. In this situation, we generally take the help of diagonal opposition where we need to take the king away from the support of the pawn. And yes, we will successfully manage to do this. How? When we will go to king d6, now the king has to move either to e8 or to g8. When the king is going to g8, I am going to e7. Now the king has no way to escape other than this h8. When the king is going to h8, guys, shall we move this to f7? Will that be a good move? No, this is danger. Why? If we go here to f7, there will be a stalemate, and stalemate leads to draw. But yeah, here we are supposed to win. So what we're gonna do is, there is an interesting move right here, playing the pawn to f6. So when the opponent pawn will capture us, now we will go to f7. Why? In this particular position, now the opponent has the pawn to move and there won't be any draw situation right here. So now the king has no space to move. So ultimately he will push the pawn. Now we will go the pawn to g7, giving a check. King will go to h7. Now we can successfully promote to our respective piece, what we want. Here, I took a queen, given a check, king goes here, and that's a checkmate here. And this is only got successful by this distant opposition. Is it distant opposition, students? No, this is diagonal opposition. So right here, please try to focus on these three things. One is distant opposition, direct opposition, diagonal opposition. I hope these three things is clear to you all. And for something like this new thing and some new topics like this, stay tuned with Premier Chess Academy. Don't forget to subscribe, follow, and press the bell icon for new notifications from our end. Moreover, before ending this, I want to give you a puzzle. And I want you people be actively giving your answer how to solve this particular position using opposition, and is it going to be a win, draw, or loss. Here, this is white to play, and what white is going to do to make this position win, draw, or loss. I want whether this position is going to be a win, draw, or loss, and how. Please write down in the comment section. Thank you, everyone. See you all. Bye-bye.